Okay, let's go.
NGP 已开启。
Oh my
Whoa,
god!
that was interesting.
Oh my god!
This is going way too fast. Chang'an Avenue on VLA. Okay. Alright. Challenge completed. 你好，小 P。
在呢。
导航去天安门西。
好的，我们去第几个？
第一个。
有3条路线，走哪条呢？
第一个。
已为你选择第1条路线，开始为你导航。
Okay, let's go.
NGP 已开启。
It goes into the left lane when we're trying to take a right. And now we're stuck behind. When it could have gone that way. This is one area. I think there's one bug there.
150米后即将退出 NGP， 请手动通过收费站以降级至 LCC。
So here it sees that this is a toll booth, so it's
请依时接管。
Oh my
Whoa,
god!
that was interesting.
NGP 已开启。
What happened? That was weird. That's why level 2++, you need to pay attention all the time. Because you're still responsible. Starting out in this interesting situation.
Be
手
careful!
动驾驶。
Oh my
This is
god!
going way too fast.
Slow down!
NGP 已开启。
My goodness. I didn't expect this. The night started off very interestingly. I'm currently in the Xpeng GX, the 1585 kilometer range, ultra all-wheel drive, extended range version of the GX, which is Xpeng's
靠右行驶。
flagship large SUV launched almost 2 months ago on May 20th. And my main goal is to, every time I come back to China, to test out these FSD-like capabilities from the Chinese EV companies and tech providers. And Xpeng is someone which I've gotten acquainted with starting off in 2023 when I test drove the G6 with their early NGP. And now 3 years later, I'm testing their latest edition on what is called VLA 2.0, which is trying to be like Tesla's FSD. And I'm taking actually my family on a trip into the city. And the reason we're going at this hour is in Beijing, the license plates, with the ICE vehicles, also the extended range E-revs, they're restricted 1 day per week. So this car has a license plate ending in 5, which means I cannot drive into the city inside the 5th Ring Road tomorrow because 0 and 5 are restricted tomorrow. So we're just picked a random route. We wanted to check out the Tiananmen Square and the Chang'an Avenue. So we just left our place we're staying in Shunyi near the exhibition center where the Beijing Auto Show is held. We're heading down south on Jingmi Expressway, and then later on we'll get onto the Capital Expressway, heading into 2nd Ring Road, and then get on the Chang'an Avenue. And currently we put this on NGP mode, and it's been almost 3 months to the day since I test drove last time I was here of the initial VLA 2.0 rollout on the new P7. And at the time, I said my conclusion was that it was FSD-like, but not yet FSD good. And I've had this GX for, this is my 2nd day, so I've been driving it yesterday, today, yesterday. I drove from Shunyi to Wangjing to Zhongguancun, which is the northwest part of Beijing. I'm taking my daughter to her practice, volleyball practice place in Beijing Sport University. Basically, it's from Shunyi, northeast part of Beijing to west. So the initial drives and the initial feel is that what's new on this vehicle is, as you saw from the beginning, is the swipe to the right to get to your final destination. This is very FSD-like because FSD has the start self-driving button once you get into the navigation. And so this is something that Xpeng did that's very close to what FSD is doing. The second part, the difference is this is my first time driving Xpeng's E-Rev, which means obviously you can't see closely, but here when I got the car yesterday, the battery electric range was close to 400 kilometers. When it's fully charged, the rated CLTC range is 430 kilometers. Now we're down to 38 kilometers, and once that's depleted, the gasoline engine will kick in. So I've never experienced when that happens. And the third part different is there's slight
即将掉头
update. So we're doing a U-turn here, and it's going quite slow. The other thing different is there's this co-driving mode, which I think is very nicely done. Is when you feel the vehicle is slower than you would normally drive as a human, you just press on the gas pedal and let it go a little bit faster and let it handle the lane merging and changing. And we just did a U-turn. I think that was pretty well done. Other than that, the familiar the cockpit. This is again the 1585 kilometer total range. So we have the 430 battery range combined 1585 kilometer
即将
total
右转
range. We're currently heading on to the Capital Expressway, heading over to Second Main Road. Just going to give it a little bit more nudge. So once this kicks into, I've set this on battery electric mode only since I've been driving in the city, but once the battery is done, it goes into the gasoline engine. Whether the fuel will be different, I don't know, we'll see. Now it's just going up to the speed limit, 120 on the expressway. So the last 2 days, my initial reaction for this updated drive is, the first keyword I thought of it is it's a wild animal. So compared to the VLA 2.0 on P7, I called it FSD-like, not yet FSD good. I would still say this is FSD-like, definitely not FSD good, because all of us have already had the experience of using FSD, which is, in terms of peace of mind, you just put it on FSD and then it'll arrive in the destination and park itself most of the time. But as we've seen just now at the beginning of the trip, there was a couple of scenarios where the car was going quite fast and acting erratically. So this is something that I did not see in the P7, so that's one reason why I'm calling it a wild animal. And the other reason is what I've seen over the last 2 days drives is in certain merging actions, especially cutting in, it's very FSD-like. It would pick the right moment at the very end. Not sure if that's good or bad, but it always makes the cut-in smoothly. And I also noticed when merging into the right lane to exit onto the ramp, it tends to do it at the very last moment. Also similar to FSD. The hesitant part about this system is I've seen quite a few instances where it just slams on the brake and slows down for no reason while going through an intersection. Other scenarios, it just slows and does not seem to know what to do. But granted, this is a big SUV. It's heavy. It feels lethargic. It definitely feels different than the G6, the P7, the Mona MO3, and the Mona L03 I just tried in Munich, where they were offering media test rides of the kind of the pre-VLA 2.0 system in the streets of Munich, and that was very slow but also smooth throughout. But this is very erratic behavior. I don't know if it's the car itself. Definitely feels different than the P7 back in April. I do use the co-driving mode a lot, which is nice, but again, we never do that on FSD. We never have to really press the pedal. It just goes at the right speed, the right rhythm. But interestingly, to compare the L03 versus GX, the starting price of the L03, which is smaller compact SUV in the German market, is close to 36,000 euros. Whereas this bigger SUV in China, this version that we're driving is 359,800, which is $50,000. So it's pretty jarring to see the starting price of a much smaller vehicle, from the same Xpeng, selling much higher in the European market than this here, which is starting at 279. So starting at about $40,000. So tonight we'll just pick the random place and try to see how it performs in different scenarios. So we've been on the expressway, we're going to hit the ring roads and then the Chang'an Avenue, hopefully some hutongs down in the center of Beijing to see how it does. That's kind of the summary so far for the past 2 days. I'll have this for one more day tomorrow returning. But there's some improvements, similarly to what Dr. Liu Xianming said at the Munich event. He basically said in their internal testing results, there's pros and cons compared to FSD. In
小心施
certain
工，请
scenarios,
注意路况。
the VLA 2.0 does better, but others, the FSD is better because Xiaopeng made a bet that by the end of August, their system in China will get to very much close to the Tesla FSD capabilities of V14 in California. But I kind of think that this is a futile comparison and goal to try to make because the systems are different, the data are different, how they're trained. Tesla with millions and billions of cars and knowledge already accumulated, where Xpeng has less, but Xpeng has better knowledge of the local driving conditions in China, in Beijing, in different parts of China, which is entirely different than, let's say, in the US where we are in a small town setting, less complicated situation. So there's no point in kind of trying to reach the FSD capabilities because it's just not an apples to apples comparison. And I think the goal rather is to have Xpeng improve upon what they already have and improve upon the system here that we've
靠左
tried,
直行，
which still have some bugs that we saw at the beginning. Now we're on the second lane though. So now it's going at, actually the speed is at, limit is at 80, but it's going at about 60. So I'm going to press the gas pedal a little bit to let it go faster. This is the cold driving mode. Maybe because it's exiting, that's why it's not going faster. Okay, it's nice and done. Oh, so the other thing that should stress is Xpeng system requires your kind of at least one hand on the steering wheel. If you don't put your hands on the steering wheel, it'll. Okay, so yeah, this is the bug. Now it's going back in when the navigation is on the Fulu, which is the side road. So this is we're seeing all kinds of problems tonight. Or maybe you try to bypass some traffic on the main road. I don't know. Oh, the hands on the steering wheel. If you don't put your hands on the steering wheel, it'll give you notification flashing in the center screen, which I'll let it show a little bit later. Whereas some other systems, including FSD, is completely hands-free. But here, I think normally you will want to put your one hand holding the steering wheel like that. So we're at 10% of the battery, 39 kilometers left, and 281 kilometers left on the engine. Right now it's BEV priority, and the super hybrid, the EREV, is recommended for the long trips. So 1585. So theoretically, you can make this trip from Beijing to Shanghai fully charged and fully filled up with the tank. All right, so it's about to exit onto the ramp to get onto Chang'an Avenue. It's less than 500 kilometers. See what it does. It tends to make the merge toward the end. Okay. Literally at the end. Yeah, the hesitance, I think, compared to FSD is a lot worse. But I think in some of the maneuvering situations, like just now, it's okay. It's pretty simple, I think, nowadays. So we're now on the Chang'an Avenue and we'll go past Tiananmen Square. So I think one conclusion of this compared to the P7 in April is the inconsistency is quite noticeable. But I've only had the P7 for 40 minutes for a drive last time. I've had this car for a longer time and in different road scenarios. So maybe the chances of these inconsistencies popping up is a greater chance. So the other point my family just mentioned is that when it's supposed to go fast, it doesn't go fast. When it's supposed to go slow, it goes fast. So that's the erratic behavior and inconsistency. I think, regardless of the tech behind it, I think as a passenger and the driver sitting in the car and traveling, you want to feel a peace of mind and comfort. And that's where I think the FSD excels in the US. Oh, that was very good.
小心施工，请注意路况。
See, that was very smooth. Okay, so the engine just turned on. It's just on. It's been off. So now it's less than 3% of the battery of the engine kicks in. The new edition of this VLA 2.0 compared to back in April is it's added a roaming feature inside a let's say a park or industrial area, where if you put it on roaming, it'll just go by itself without a destination. And I've tried it a few times on the public roads. That's very interesting. It's very random, but it will follow the road. You do notice that the engine shut off. So now it's off. You feel a little bit of that shake, ever so slightly. All right, so we're passing through one of the most famous locations on Earth. Actually quite empty. Chang'an Square in front of the south side of the Forbidden City. I guess new record for me. First time going through this part of the Chang'an Avenue on VLA on level 2++. 你好，小 P。
我在呢。
导航去景山前天。
好的，我们去第几个？200米后即将抵达终点。
第一个。So to the right is the 中南海 residence of the higher ups. This 北海 Park.
这个北海吗？
畅所行驶。
中南海。
To the right is still 中南海. Heading east toward the north part of 故宫
右边就是故宫角。
Forbidden City. 导航去荷花市场。
好的，我们去第几个？
第一个。After that two initial erratic behaviors, the system had kind of settled down. So we try to have this on as long as we can. 你好，小 P。
听着呢。
导航去香妃烤鸡。
那个这边就是景山。
好的，我们去第几个？
第一
个。Okay, now we're actually gonna have set the destination to this fried chicken place my wife used to go to when she was younger. So really inside the city in the Hutons, and see how this does. So the benefit of driving at this hour of the day is obviously there's less traffic, but if we're going to the hutongs, it's still going to be tough, especially for a vehicle as large as this one. So we're now going westward to the Shunyi, also known as the southern part of it, Lotus Line, very towards the area. Just now passing it. Alright, now we're about to go into the hutongs. So we're officially in the hutongs. Now this is a weird area because you gotta go left of this barricade. Okay, good. Well, there's no way to go on the other side anyways. 你好，小 P。
听着呢。
导航去竹园宾馆。
好的。
Okay, so this actually is a motor vehicle lane.
右边是公园。
Transcoms Mansion on the right. So this is actually a two-way street.
对，这里有一街是算大胡同。
Big hutongs. So the normal hutongs are probably just half of the size of this.
它这是 main street， 然后两边就是全是。
So now you kind of see parked cars on the right, and now we gotta maneuver over this. Oh, we gotta go left.
即将左转。
Okay. Now officially, that was slamming on the brake for the scooter. Okay, we're officially in the hutong.
洋房胡同。
Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. VLA is still on with haven't had to disengage. Granted, this is in the evening hours, less traffic. Alright. Challenge completed. Hey, we completed the Hutong tour unscathed. 你好，小 P。
来了来了。
导航去会展预警北门。
好的，我们去第几个？
第一个。So it's really been uneventful ever since the initial two erratic behaviors. Everything is under control. So the bugs I think we've seen the last 2 days is unnecessarily merging to the left or to the right in the slower lanes for some reason. Whereas if you were human driving, you wouldn't do it. And I think the major recommendation is the vision, the VLA, which is vision part of VLA, integrating with the map data, the navigation data. I think needs to be improved. So we're almost back home in our 1 hour and 30-minute loop from Shunyi to the center of Beijing and back to the hutongs. I guess to sum it up, the positives, so for me, is the ability to really go into FSD or to start the NGP immediately once. So I don't know. So this part of the road, it slows down for no reason. So I was just about to say the positive. That was one of the negatives. This particular stretch of the Jingmi Expressway, where this structure, this toll booths, tends to go fast, and at the very end, it kind of, yeah, now it's going really fast. Which is the negative. So the negative is going fast when it's supposed to go slow, and going slow when it's supposed to go fast. I think that's one of the negatives. The positive I was saying is you can now start the NGP immediately once you put in the navigation while the car is parked. You just swipe and it goes into the NGP mode. And some of the merging actions, especially in the traffic conditions, heavy traffic, I think it's done a good job. But the negative again is the decision making when it decides to merge to exit onto a ramp. Like what happened just now, it kind of pressed on the brake, not as smooth. But I think so the middle part of navigating the center of Beijing, I think was actually well done. So that's obviously a lot of improvement needs to be made. If, like Xiaotong said, if they're trying to get to the V14 capabilities, which I say it's kind of futile. Because I don't think any system is nearly as close as the field can get. And see, this is I don't know if it's negative or positive, it's at the very end, it tends to go to the very left lane when you're turning.
即将左转.
This is where it hesitates. And I had to press gas pedal a little bit.
已退出至手动驾驶。